And it looks like we are live on the WRAL YouTube page. Mark Bergen, joined by WRAL meteorologist Grant Skinner. Grant, snow is here in North Carolina. We've got a long list of places where we are seeing snow. I mean, Carr Lake, Johnston County, Beaufort, Goldsboro, Pittsboro. Still waiting on some snow. I know there were some flurries in Raleigh today, but the timing has moved everything back.
Yeah, we're waiting for some more substantial snow. This morning, the surface low was offshore. The upper level low was back to the west. And so there was a period of time where we had some drier air that was intruding on us being able to get any snow. There was just not enough moisture for snow to develop. So originally we were thinking that, could show up at some point throughout the course of the day, and we'd have to kind of watch to see what location that set up over. Unfortunately, it set up right over the triangle, so that was kind of frustrating for a little while to not have any snow park itself over the area.
We are live on YouTube, so if you have questions for Grant, I'm going to be monitoring those throughout the course of this conversation. We've already got a few from Michelle and Kimberly. We will get to you. But before we do, Grant, what I wanted to ask you is the concept of dry slotting in terms of why this storm and the timing has bumped back from what we were even seeing, what this could be, say, last night. So how the timing has changed as of this morning.
Well, our totals were generally 3 to 6 inches, and we were expecting that snow to possibly pick up overnight and into this morning. And the snow did pick up tonight into this morning, but just in specific areas. Back to the east, closer to the area of low pressure, and then back to the west, where we've seen a lot of snow back towards Charlotte. Areas like Greensboro have seen some snow as well. But for us, we've had dry air that slowly worked its way north, because that low is back to the west. So you can kind of see it still if you want to take that full.
Yeah, I'll take this full screen for our viewers so you can see it a little bit better here.
Yeah, so from Lumberton up through Fayetteville through Raleigh right now, there's snow working its way through Moore County now, and Lee and Hope County are finally starting to see some snow. But before, there was that dry air from the upper levels of our atmosphere trying to work their way in, and even in lower portions of the atmosphere as well, we had some dry air working its way in, thanks to the upper level low back to our west. And we talked about on Thursday during our Q&A session, and also yesterday during my discussion during the morning show, depending on where that dry air set up, that could mean a delay or lower totals for some areas. And so the map could look kind of speckled across the area. Some spots have some heavier amounts, other areas see some drier air. Unfortunately, I know a lot of our viewers are from the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Apex, Cary, all those areas. And because of the way it's set up, it just took a little bit longer. That does not mean you won't see snow. You can see on radar now, this batch of snow back to our west has slowly worked its way north and east. So it started just to the west of our area, back towards Montgomery County, and then it started to work its way through areas like Moore County, Southern Pines, and Pinehurst have both seen some good snow over the past hour or so. And then now we're starting to see some good accumulation in Pittsboro. And it's really only been snowing there for the past 20 to 30 minutes. So once the snow enters your area, if that batch is heavy enough, it won't take too long for accumulations. One, because it could be falling a little bit heavier, and two, because it's so cold, it's going to stick.
Yeah, so 1 to 3 inches now expected in Raleigh specifically.
Yeah, I've got that map here for you so we can look at that. This is our latest forecast map that Chris Michaels put together this morning to account for that dry air. We knew it would set up somewhere, but it was one of those things where you have to wait till really close to the event to know exactly where that dry air sets up. And this morning, we could see that dry air moving in, and Chris Michaels edited that graphic accordingly. So down through, really Roxborough is on the border, because there have been parts of Roxborough maybe pushing over 3 inches. So we kind of have it splitting Roxborough, Person County, down through areas like Harnett County, up through Johnston County, and through Nash County, so Rocky Mount, even through parts of Wilson County as well. This could include areas like Franklinton, all the way up through Warrenton as well. You can see that 1 to 3 inches of snow possible there. So even though you have not seen a whole lot of snow today, you are still going to see some snow at some point. Even though it won't be super heavy snow, you'll probably see at least a dusting for our northern spots. And I think as that batch continues to work its way east, we could see slightly higher amounts, maybe 2 to 3 inches, while other spots see around a 1 inch. It all depends on if you get some of that heavier snow.
I want to say hi to Cheryl, who's watching from Raleigh.
Hey,
welcome in. Thanks for watching. And then Lauren had a question asking, why is it snowing in Charlotte but not in Raleigh right now?
Yeah, and it's what I mentioned earlier, and I'll go back to radar so we can look at the kind of the overall picture of where the snow is right now. It's snowing back towards Charlotte because that's feeding off energy from the upper level lows. The upper level low is back to the west, your coastal low is to the east. So we are literally smack dab in the middle of two different systems.
Yeah.
And
you can see that up
and
through
you can
here.
see
Yeah.
that's where the dry air has been working its way in today. And we knew that that could set up in between these two systems, and unfortunately it literally was right through the triangle where that set up. So back towards Charlotte, closer to the upper level low, and also probably due to some mountain influence as well, they've had some more significant totals back towards Charlotte. I know folks have been seeing pictures, video out of Charlotte. They're getting a good bit of snow there, whereas the coast also seeing snow, a heavy amount of snow as well. While us, we've been mostly dry today. We've seen some flurries. Johnston County saw some flurries earlier. It looks like this is starting to look a little bit lighter, but this should fill in because the upper level low is moving east, and it's trying to overlap with the surface low that's offshore. So they'll combine, feed off each other's energy. Should it get some more moisture moving in, I think we'll have a better chance for snow later, especially into later this afternoon.
This afternoon into the evening is my understanding.
Hours. Yeah, and I'll show future casts in a little bit as well.
Michelle from Wilson County checking in. Michelle Anderson asking about the timing specifically for Wilson County.
Yeah, that's good. I have future casts actually right here, so we can talk
Perfect.
through timing of everything. So this is fast forward to 2 o'clock now. And that band that was back to our west slowly inches its way east. So this is initializing pretty well, I would say. That band back to the east weakening a good bit. So folks in Wilson County, maybe you've seen some flurries here and there, but maybe not a ton of accumulating snow. This will eventually move into the area later today. So we can take
Let me take this full, just so viewers can get a little bit better of a view of what you're talking about here, Grant.
So let's walk through it. If you are from Raleigh westward, by 2 o'clock, you should have seen at least some snow at this point by 2 p.m. It all depends on that eastern side of the band that's moving from west to east right now, how quickly that can move. It looks like it's moving a bit quicker. We're seeing snow in Pittsboro now. That should continue to move east. That batch back to the east, not looking as prominent. It's mainly going to be affecting the coastline. Let's fast forward now to 4:45 p.m., so closer to the evening. We could see a brief break for Raleigh by our western spots, still seeing a good bit of snow. That's that U-shaped dip that you saw in our forecast snow totals, which I'll show again in a second. Then by around 8:45, 9 p.m. this evening, that's whenever we see probably the best coverage of snow. We could have some heavier batches here and there. So what that means, again, with those totals that you'll see tonight and through tomorrow morning, it could look very sporadic. Some places see some heavier snow, they'll have slightly higher totals. Maybe other places don't see as much snow, and you get maybe those on the lower end of the total. So by this point, you're in Wilson County, you're definitely seeing some snow by 8, 9 o'clock this evening. Could be heavier at times. That should stick around all the way through the early morning hours on Sunday. And then it's not until after 2, 3 o'clock in the morning that we start to see it slowly work its way out of the triangle area. And then for Wilson, it's slowly going to work its way out by around 4 a.m. in the morning. This is only a 12-hour forecast model. I'm using this one specifically because this is the initializing the best. This is the most up-to-date, high-resolution forecast model that we have.
And that's why we wanted to do these live YouTube Q&As, just so people get real-time interactions from our WRAL severe weather team and a real meteorologist, like a live meteorologist in real time. Kimberly Jones checking in from Edgecombe County saying nothing so far there. Still wondering about the timing. I think we've covered that. Kathy in Wake Forest saying she's taking a nap. She's tired of looking out the window.
That's fair.
So thank you for checking in and thank you for watching.
Fair. And I get it. It can be frustrating because, we were hoping that snow would start up early this morning across the area. But that dry air has just caused for a delay in the snow from, I would say, down towards Fayetteville in a line all the way up through the triangles. And that delay is so frustrating. I know a lot of viewers are just in that narrow band that saw the dry air. But, again, it does not last forever. That's why I've been telling folks, don't freak out now. It does not mean we're not going to see snow. We still have a good chance of seeing snow this evening as the low moves from west to east, the upper level low.
And so 250 people watching this live now on the WRAL YouTube
Thank you
page.
for watching.
And absolutely, and if you haven't already, if you've come across this on your feed, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on the page just so you're staying up to date throughout the course of this storm and just making sure people are staying safe, Grant.
Safety is going to be a big priority, especially when we have this accumulating snow and dangerously cold temperatures. There's two...
You're in my brain.
There's two, factors people have to worry about tonight and into tomorrow morning. So even if you don't see a ton of accumulating snow and the roads really aren't that bad, I still would encourage folks to, if you don't have any plans tomorrow morning, just stay inside because it will be dangerously cold. And I actually have some graphics in here I can pull up while you're looking at questions.
And one thing I want to mention, that crews are working hard to make sure that the roads are safe. They've pre-treated a lot of the roads. They'll be out there as snowfall accumulates all throughout the state, making sure you're staying safe out there. If you're able to stay home, it's probably a prudent, smart, safe decision to do. But with the cold temperatures too, Grant, where it's like, you know, I know the sunlight helps a lot, but when you're talking about temperatures, if they're below freezing, you know, how that factors in of once the snow's come and gone, you know, what's it like in terms of how long the snow is going to stick around?
Yeah, and yeah, snow does help a lot. Radiation from the sun does help to melt a lot of that snow. But when it's so cold, and I can even see this outside of my apartment complex, you have some areas that are pretty shaded too, that even throughout this week, they still have ice because there's just not enough warmth, not enough radiation, obviously, with the shade. It's
the ice from last weekend, and really that's the big difference from last weekend's storm, whereas this weekend it's going to be a snow event.
Yeah, more snow event, which is better. You know, when we have that freezing rain and ice from the sleet and stuff like that, that can be a little bit more dangerous. But with us mainly having snow, we still will have road issues, maybe not as severe as we had with an ice storm. But that snow will last through probably at least Tuesday morning because we do get above freezing on Monday, mid to upper 30s for our highs, but we'll be back down into the teens Tuesday morning. So
bundle up.
Exactly.
Bundle
yeah,
up.
make sure you have the layers all the way through Tuesday.
You take this full as well so people can see.
Oh yeah, this
is
Sunday morning slows. This is not cool. Teens across the area tomorrow morning. Then you factor in the wind. If it'll feel like 1 in Raleigh stepping out the door tomorrow morning, so hopefully you're not stepping out the door. -2 in Lewisburg, -2 Rocky Mount. And, you know, we do radio forecasts for the entire state of North Carolina, and we were looking back at the forecast wind chill back towards the mountains. We don't have it as bad as the mountains. The mountains, wind chill, -25 in Boone. So, yeah, you know, it's going to be very cold. Obviously, it's still dangerously cold here, but at least we're not in the mountains where it's that cold because it is dangerously cold really across the state. Extreme cold warnings spread over a huge area. Let me show this real quick.
Yeah,
because
while you pull that up, Grant and Cheryl saying hello. Grant in Chapel Hill saying thanks for doing this, and I guess the snow is now sticking in Chapel Hill, so they're seeing some snowfall on Chapel Hill.
I saw that
at the time of this recording too, and then Cheryl checking in saying thanks for what you're doing. Cheryl, thank you for watching, and thank you
so
for
much.
the kind words too. Really appreciate that here on our YouTube live here on the WRAL YouTube page.
Yep, I'm so close to getting this graphic. When you're on an iPad, it makes it a little bit more fun, but we're almost here. All right, here we go. So these are the extreme cold warnings. So obviously almost all of North Carolina is included in it. South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, almost to Miami, Florida.
Wow.
Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, parts of Louisiana. And it's because we have this trough that's moving in. You remember I talked about the upper level low fueling that snow that we're seeing back to our west and slowly working its way east. That low, behind it you have high pressure building in, and that allows the deep cold air masses from the Arctic to work its way in. So, and because this is moving so far south, you'll see those frigid temperatures all the way down into central Florida. So this is a significant cold air mass, and that's why that's what makes the difference between what we saw last weekend and this weekend. This is a deeper cold air mass. So we are seeing all snow today instead of seeing a mixture of rain, like freezing rain, sleet, rain. You know, we had a weird mix last week, and it was really tricky forecast. This one equally tricky, but just a snow forecast this time.
Just want to make sure people can see this graphic on their screens if they're watching on YouTube, just to show you the area that encompasses. And areas just north of Miami. I spent some time in Florida, so it's like you talk about you're almost into say the Fort Lauderdale, West Palm area in terms of the fact that this extreme cold warning goes that far south in Florida. It's really surprising me when you look at, what to expect in North Carolina, but how far south that goes, Grant. That's surprising to me.
And each Weather Service office has different criteria for extreme cold warnings. And so the wind chill might not be as cold in Central Florida, but they also take into consideration how this will feel for folks down in Central Florida. It's a different feel for them, especially they're surrounded by water as well. It's a much different feel, especially for folks that aren't as used to seeing that cold of temperatures. They're probably going to have wind chills still in the teens, though.
We have a really good comment from a viewer named Caitlin wondering
Okay.
if there's such thing as a Raleigh snow bubble.
You know, I've been here for 7 months now, and I've heard about this snow bubble, and I feel like it is just an unlucky coincidence. Because now, and what might play into that is the fact that we might have coastal lows offshore and upper level lows back to our west. I'll have to do some more digging into our history. Maybe that's been a long-term trend where things set up like this, and that causes some dry air initially, and we don't have as much accumulation as in Raleigh as we do in Goldsboro, or we have in Pittsburgh, or we have in Southern Pines. But I'll have to do some more research into that, because I've heard about this. I've seen a lot of comments about the Raleigh snow bubble, and I know it's felt like that today because it's taking some time for that snow to finally get here. But it's slowly working its way to our area.
Yeah.
I want to check on radar.
Yeah,
too,
and we've
see if it's
got Cameron
closer.
in Durham saying, starting to see a little bit of snow in Durham. Cameron, thank you for checking in. And then
thank you.
John in Fayetteville saying nothing so far in Fayetteville.
Yeah, nothing so far in Fayetteville. It is still taking its time. As the upper level low moves east, though, this batch just northwest of Lumberton should start to work its way in the area. It might take a few more hours, but it will eventually work its way in. For folks in Wake County, I know you've had a little bit of you've had some quiet time today with the snow. Durham County and Orange County are now filled in with snow, and we should start to see that work into Wake County probably here in the next, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes. The first people to see snow likely to be maybe Morrisville gets clipped by this batch here, but probably Apex, maybe Cary. I would say maybe Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay Varina will probably start to see this snow first.
So, Grant, one thing I want to know is, what would you tell viewers now at this point in time, just given where we're at and how this system has started to move through our area, but where we stand at this point in time, what advice would you give to someone watching this?
The advice I give them is, I know in the Triangle area and points south towards Fayetteville, we haven't had as much accumulation. We still are likely going to see snow through this evening and very, very, very early tomorrow morning as well. I'd encourage you, especially if you're in these areas where we've seen a good bit of accumulation from Sanford, maybe points west, Durham points west, and I'll take this full real quick so you can kind of see where the snow is right now. If you're in those areas, please just stay off the roads because this is going to stick easily. We're seeing very quick accumulation on our roadways, sidewalks, things like that. So please just use caution. I know some folks may have to go to work, and so we just use caution if you're going to be driving or walking anywhere. Please, lots of layers if you have to be outside at all. And I would keep the pets inside, honestly. It's way too cold.
Yes, I was joking around last night with Kat Campbell about her dog Jazzy, where it's like, where's Jazzy riding out the storm? So that was fun, and she had her preparations all ready. Kathy wants to know, when will the window of snow be gone for the Raleigh area?
For Raleigh, the window of snow, based off our latest run of Futurecast, was showing around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, was whenever that was going to finally move out. Now, if these bands move a little bit quicker, that could be a little bit sooner. It could be giving it, give or take about an hour or two. But I think around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when our latest run of Futurecast, which is the most up-to-date high-resolution forecast model, that's when it shows it moving out. And that's been initializing pretty well over the past hour or two. I know sometimes these forecast models have a hard time. When I say initializing, it's the initial data that it's taking. So like, basically I'm looking at, when I'm looking at a forecast model, is it showing the current radar correctly at 1 o'clock? So if the forecast shows for 2 o'clock, for example, is that where the snow will most likely be at 2 o'clock? If it's not showing it correctly, then I'm kind of weary about showing that forecast model, because it's like, okay, well, you don't even know what's going on right now. How are you going to know what's going on in the future, right? Yeah. And so when it initializes well, like the high resolution forecast model has been over the past hour or so, more inclined to use that, and I think it's a little bit more accurate with our totals as well. All
right, so we're going to start to wrap here a little bit. If you have any other questions, we can go rapid fire. We've got one other question from another viewer asking about any total predictions for the Garner area, but given that Garner's in Wake County, pull up the map here, but it's
Yep.
within this 1 to 3 inch
1 to 3
range.
inches. And I know we've been talking about, in general, 3 to 6 inches of snow across the area. It's been our big thing that we've been hitting. That was before we knew exactly where that dry air would set up. And that's why we talked about, when we show this snow totals forecast, there are going to be some areas that maybe see a little less and a little more, depending on if you get heavier bands of snow or if you have the dry air. It all was dependent on where those items would set up. And because the dry air is set up right here, 1 to 3 inches down through Garner, all the way up through areas like Warrenton, Oxford, Henderson, Durham, Chapel Hill, Roxborough, Hillsborough, areas like that.
We do even have a viewer now. When we started this discussion, say about 20 minutes ago, Grant, nothing in Edgecombe County. One viewer is saying that seeing some snow in Edgecombe County, the Rocky Mount area now too. So like, it's coming eventually.
It's coming,
it's been a little bit later than we initially expected.
And it could be hit or miss at times. That happens. We have some brief dry pockets, but in general, I think everyone will see snow. It just will take a little while. I think, and some might not see a whole lot, while others really get on some good snow totals. Like Pittsburgh right now, we were worried about Pittsburgh, how long it would take for the snow to get there. And once it moved in, there's some heavier pockets in there. It started to accumulate fast.
All right, I got to ask you for my own personal sake. Do you have
Yeah.
any snow traditions or any snacks that you like when you've done snow coverage throughout the course of your life, throughout the course of your career?
Well, I'll probably go back to what I did for snow, because it's interesting. I worked in the Mobile, Alabama market, so I only got one snow event my entire time working there, and it was last January. We had tons of snow. It was a record-breaking snow event. But I didn't really do a whole lot of snacks there, so I'll go back to when I was a kid. And my main thing I had to get was root beer. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
I always got root beer. Root beer was like a must-have, and it had to be Abita root beer with the cane sugar. It's good stuff. Not a shameless plug. It's not like
No. We
this
might
is not-
need to.
no sponsorship or anything. It's
When
just-
we sign off here, just want to check in. Got another viewer in from West Cary. I want to thank everyone. We had 220 people watching this live. We're going to do this throughout the course of this storm. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you're liked and subscribed to the WRAL YouTube page. Grant, the whole WRAL Severe Weather team is going to make sure that you are informed as the storm moves through North Carolina. But there are a lot of ways to make sure that you're staying on top of things. WRAL.com, the WRAL app. But Grant, thank you so much for all of your time. Is there anything else you want to get to that we haven't discussed here on this YouTube Live?
I'll say this, throughout this entire week and even throughout this weekend, we're going to try to be as transparent. We always try to give you the most up-to-date information and be as transparent as possible with what our forecast looks like. I know sometimes that can be like, hey, last minute we see some dry air, or we see, slightly warmer temperatures like last week, and because the weather is changing fast. And so we want to give you the most up-to-date information. Our entire team is updating you on what's going on, and we'll continue to do that throughout the course of tonight and into tomorrow. Stay as warm as possible, and you'll get on some snow, I promise.
He is WRAL meteorologist Grant Skinner. I am Mark Bergen. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. Again, make sure you're liked and subscribe to the WRAL YouTube page. Boom. Thanks, man. That was fun.